Good morning and welcome to Get Real America.
I'm Bill Edwards.
I'm Brittany Brown.
Glad to have you aboard here on this Monday. Here it is, the 19th day of June, Juneteenth. Send up a flare.
Well, here's the thing, Bill. I think that it's been turned into something that it's not, unfortunately, with most of our holidays. And this really is a celebration of Republicans defending
the Constitution
yes,
in America.
And having slaves freed.
Yeah.
So, and did you know that at the time of slavery, only 1.6% of the population owned slaves?
Oh, yeah. Slaves are expensive. You had to be rich to own slaves. And they make it sound like everybody had them. And they didn't. And we should celebrate the fact that we have this Constitution that allowed the abolition of slavery, unlike other countries. We abolished slavery long before anybody else did, for the most part. And we're also, for one segment of the population to go around whining and crying all the time and keep bringing this up like desiccated corpses, that they were the only race that was ever been enslaved. They've been white slavery back as far as you can imagine. And who, by the way, who was selling the blacks to America as slaves? Why, it was other blacks in Africa and tribes. But we have this Constitution that was written by these evil white men who said, we can get rid of slavery. We wouldn't have been able to get the Constitution at all had we tried to abolish it from the beginning. And yes, some of these guys did own slaves. A few of them did. But the fact is that that was at the time, that was the only, that was the Columbines of the day. That was what you had to have to get your ranch, get your farm going, or anything else. These people that were to a degree, and they tried to give them as much freedom as possible, at least in the early days. It deteriorated over time, but we finally got rid of slavery, and that's what we should celebrate. Now, they were celebrating in Chicago and St. Louis and San Diego and Boston and everything over the weekend by shooting people for Father's Day. We had like 48 shootings in Chicago, so congratulations to the new mayor up there.
Yeah, doing a bang-up job, isn't he?
A bang-up job, yes. I think that's a good way to put it.
Yes. Mm-hmm. Bill, the thing that I have an issue with is that, we see everyone protest about, Black Lives Matter, which is absolutely correct. But it seems like...
Which is racist.
The thing is like, black on black crime is a huge issue that we're not dealing with. We're just acting like it doesn't exist.
Yeah, the only thing, the only Black Lives that matter to BLM are the ones that were shot by the police. That's it.
That's the thing. They've created a narrative that they just really cannot support. And I think that, also Black Lives Matter, the actual organization, went bankrupt, filed Chapter
11?
Yep.
Okay.
So they're going under, but yet they bought $1 million worth of houses. They paid all of these people enormous amount of money for what? I'm not entirely sure, but
shame on corporate America for being blackmailed, pun intended.
Yeah, well, the thing is corporate needs to stay out of cultural issues.
Yeah, exactly. Just manufacture your product and shut up. And to let you know, that most people don't pay attention to all the umbrella products of a particular corporation. Modelo is now the #1 selling beer over Bud Light. And who makes Modelo?
Isn't that Anheuser-Busch?
Anheuser-Busch. Same people make Bud Light. Yeah, congratulations. Yeah, way to go.
Well, and on this note, we actually had Vivek Ramaswamy, who Mark Cuban made a comment about how going woke for a company is a really good business model. Vivek tends to disagree. He did write the book Woke Inc., and he did make a comment about this in reference to Mark Cuban.
Who's a left-wing loon, by the way. So
it's
Americans are reacting
13.
to Mark Cuban's claim on wokeness in business as boycotts persist.
About Mark Cuban's comment. You wrote a book called Woke Inc. You think it's bad for corporate America. He says it's actually good business and people are looking ahead to their customers of the future. Quick comment from you.
My view is that businesses have a purpose. It is to provide products and services to customers who actually need them, and yes, to make a profit unapologetically. And when those businesses wade into social disputes, not only is that often bad for business, just look at what happened to Bud Light, look at what's happening to Target, but more importantly, it's bad for our civic culture in our country, because what we need is apolitical spaces that bring people together, whether they're black or white or Democrat or Republican. The private sector, the sports stadiums of this country, the labs of this country, that's where Americans unite regardless of their partisan or identitarian affiliations. And so I think woke capitalism is bad for capitalism, but it's also bad for American democracy. Okay. That's why I've been leading the crusade against it for the last several years, and that's what I'm taking all the way to the White House.
All right, we'll put.
I think that they like to shut Vivek up as quickly as possible.
Oh, yeah.
He makes a whole lot of sense. His messaging is very, very good on the issues. If you haven't listened to Vivek, you should. I saw him in person at the convention a couple weekends ago, and I was surprised how short he is. The camera angles really make him look like he could be a tall person, but he is not.
Yeah. Well, if you ever saw John McCain, he was a tiny guy.
Oh, really? I didn't know that.
Well, there you go. You do now.
Yes. So I do think that there is, like, people are done with bringing woke into their products and the things that they purchase.
I don't know what they're thinking. When you this thing is upside down and backwards, and when you say, I think what didn't Target's prices go down like something like $9 billion? They lost, their stock has lost like $9 billion. And you would think that they'd look at that and say, that's not good. You're supposed to be in business to provide a service and make a profit. You can't stay in business without making a profit. I'm sorry. That's just the way it works in the free enterprise system. Unless you want to be a communist, which a lot of people do.
Well, and I think that's the thing too, Bill, is that even Bud Light, they're still doubling down. They didn't apologize. They came out and said, beer is for everyone. You're going to be really glad to see us bring our marketing back to our roots and to,
they're I see the ads. I see the ads that they're running, with the country music playing and the cowboys and all running around. Yeah, that was and all of a sudden I see the Clydesdales again. First time I've seen the Clydesdales in years.
Well, I think it's insulting.
Yeah, it is.
For them not to apologize for what they did and to think that people are just going to be like, okay, Bud Light, you're bringing back the America that we love. So
especially when you kowtow, especially when you kowtow to like less than 1% of the population, it makes them look like the majority. This is absolutely pathetic. When you have CEOs like the one at what's that? Lulu Screw You or what?
Lululemon.
Lululemon. Yeah. Well, lemon is the operative word here. Who says, "Oh, just let them take the stuff." And fire the employees who tried to stop them. It's just stuff that can be replaced. Oh yeah, are you going for the insurance money or something? No, it's just going to be replaced at our expense. So the people who have to pay more for the product who actually buy it legally and honestly.
What would be interesting, Bill, is to know if this is listed in the ESG. If you don't go after criminals for stealing your stuff, you get a higher ESG score, because that's where all of this is coming from, is this stupid ESG they've brought in. And
so my question is, then why have employees?
Well, why have a business?
Just keep the doors unlocked, let people come in and get help themselves anything they want.
Well, here's the other thing, Bill. They're closing Walmarts, they're closing Targets, they're closing Walgreens.
Yeah, Walgreens left San Francisco. I think they closed all 4 of their stores in San Francisco.
Is collapsing right before us. Oh yeah. I don't know if you heard that the mall returned it to the bank. So there's a big mall there. They basically gave it back to the bank and said, "We're out.
See ya. We're out of here." Yeah. And so what's it going? And they said that its influence in hotels are closing in San Francisco, and they say, "Oh, this is hurting tourism." We've noticed that tourism is down.
I can't imagine why.
Oh wow, boy, your IQ is right up there, but almost in double figures. And you've got that stupid mayor, London Bridge, who is falling down, or London Breed, London Broyle, whoever the hell she is still there trying. All of a sudden, I think this is dawning on her, as dumb as she is. It's finally occurring to her that maybe this isn't a good thing.
Well, you talk to Gavin Newsom, and he thinks California is an oasis.
Yeah.
It's amazing to me that people that live in California, and here's the thing, I think that they've been allowed to do it in California because people will put up a lot because California is one of the most beautiful places you will ever go.
Oh, it's one of the most beautiful places on the planet.
But they've destroyed it.
Yeah.
They've done a great job destroying it, and I think people have just had enough, and they're like, it's just not worth it.
Just leave it to liberals. But what can you do? Where are the environmentalists? When you've got 40, 50, 60,000 people on the street in these tents, there's filth everywhere. They are defecating on the streets. They are, so you've got this raw sewage that's going into the sewer system, and then out into the lakes, out into the rivers, out into the ocean. What do you think? Where are you, environmentalists? You've proven that you are a fraud. All of these organizations, whether it's Code Pink, the National Organization of Women, or where are they standing up for what they say they believe in?
They're not getting paid for that, Bill.
No, I said, yeah.
That's not where their money comes from.
When the National Association of Always Complaining People didn't stand up for Clarence Thomas, I said, you're showing your true colors, pun intended.
They absolutely are, Bill. And I don't think that we're going to see this stop, but I do think that these organizations, when you go back to the environmentalists, they're trying to destroy paintings in art museums. Like, what are we doing? Why is that? How does that help environmentalists?
Yeah. So I guess because they're oil paintings and oil is evil. So
that's a stretch.
Yeah, I know. I think, but don't most of them have protective glass over them? Yeah.
Well, that's the thing. They keep doing it, but it's like you're not really.
Yeah,
you're making a stance, I guess.
You're stupid. Or the ones that go in and glue their hands to the countertops or whatever. I say, well, we can. Let's give some young medical students some practice on amputating hands.
Oh, Bill. Yeah, you'd have everyone up in a tizzy about that.
Oh, well, I'm glad somebody got in a tizzy about something.
Yeah, well, only if it fits the narrative, right? That's when they get in a tizzy about everything.
Yeah. So what is it about the Juneteenth? We're going to tell you about a little bit more. Prager University has a story on Juneteenth we're going to be telling you about very shortly. I wanted to, once again, we were talking about the school board. There was a story in the Savannah News and Mistake yesterday about this woman who was, she was one of several people in the Chatham County schools that have an individualized education plan, or IEP. I love all the acronyms we have. The plan dictates how students with special needs should be accommodated in school. For her son, it requires a speech therapist. So they're having trouble finding a speech therapist. So she said that this speech therapist they had said all the provider did was play Connect 4 with them all the time. Well, I had to go look up and see what the hell Connect 4 was.
Oh,
it's
a game.
It's some sort of game where you have to, get things. It's like sophisticated tic-tac-toe, basically.
Yeah.
Which is a game you can't win. So, at any rate, so I had to look that up. But it just goes on about how much we need to help all of these kids that don't need to be in public school. We need some sort of an institution for them. We need some sort of an establishment for them. But the public schools are trying to be everything to everybody, and it ain't working.
No, and I think that the Chatham County school system was actually sued for not being able to provide the services it needs
they're under several lawsuits.
Yes, well, imagine that. Maybe that has something to do with why Lovett is leaving.
Yeah, so maybe the new superintendent gets paid $300,000 a year plus $1,000 a month car allowance and other stuff, other perks, is coming in to help out. All right, coming up, what is Juneteenth? We'll talk about it more next. At Get Real America, we are focused on Savannah, but we'd like to hear from other communities as well. We have a lot in common.
serving the Savannah area with the power of the Shield since 1934, with personal insurance, employee benefits, and business insurance, with integrity, security, and trust. For more information, go to thepoweroftheshield.com.
Come join us today at Sweet Potato's Kitchen for some of that good Southern home cooking, like fried chicken, fish, and mouth-watering banana pudding. Say it's the best in the world, and you won't get an argument from me. Also, those vegetables are fresh and delicious. Voted Southside's best restaurant in Savannah at least 5 times, and large corporate parties are welcome. Tell them Bill Edwards sent you. Drop by and eat today. Everybody loves sweet potatoes.
Welcome back to Get Real America.
I'm Bill Edwards.
I'm Brittany Brown.
Happy Juneteenth.
Yes.
So, once again, you can thank the Republicans for freeing the slaves.
Yeah, and I don't think a lot of people are talking about that. And I do think that this is a huge issue in all of our holidays that we actually don't know where they stem from or why they're important. Because I think that Juneteenth just basically means to a lot of people that we get to party.
Yeah. Well, it's, just like July 4th.
Yep.
You go around asking people, well, we celebrate barbecue and shoot fireworks.
Yeah, it's fun.
Yeah,
right?
It's
American.
Mm-hmm, yeah, Memorial Day. What's that?
Yeah.
The blank stares that you get from some of these kids these days is very frightening.
Oh yeah. So we'll be talking more about that in the future. Yeah.
And by the way, just apropos nothing, but the Civil Rights Bill wouldn't have been passed without the Republicans either. So
amazing.
Yeah, thank you.
But we're the racists.
Yeah. Sure. Yeah. If Democrats want to see a racist, look in the mirror. Meanwhile, what is Juneteenth? How did it get started?
Well, PragerU put together a really good workup on this and what Juneteenth is and kind of the trickery that's been at play.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So let's take a look.
Everybody's been talking about it. So I'm here today, Amla Epinobi with Prager University to give you my take on Juneteenth. And just to preface this, it's not going to be anything radical. I'm not coming at your throats. I'm not going to be angry about anything that's going on right now because I don't think it deserves that sort of energy. And I've seen a lot of people on both sides of the aisle going back and forth, being very angry about what's happening right now with Juneteenth and people on the left defending it and blah, 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 blah. I just want to state the case because I think there's a narrative that we are not seeing here when it comes to Juneteenth, the now federally recognized holiday in America. And I do have notes here because, of course, I want to get this right. This is a sticky subject to step in, and you kind of feel like you have to walk on eggshells when you're talking about this. Funny enough, I'm going to talk about why you feel the need to walk on eggshells when we come on this. It is a very ingenious trick specifically made by the radical left to make it so that you cannot possibly oppose something like Juneteenth. So let me give you the perspective here. If you're not familiar with what Juneteenth is, a federally recognized holiday that celebrates the emancipation of slavery. Kind of, not quite. It celebrates the emancipation of slaves in Galveston, Texas, and the announcement of which it was made in that state to emancipate slaves. Great, good, love it. A disclaimer, nobody is against the emancipation of slaves. I can't find a single person who would tell you any differently than what I just told you. Nobody is against the emancipation of slaves. That is a great, wonderful thing. As a Black American, I really do appreciate that that happened. But what is happening right now is that Juneteenth is being pushed as this major narrative, and it is being pushed. I'm sure you're seeing it everywhere. If you are hearing me talk about this for the first time, I am baffled. But Juneteenth is being pushed because it perpetuates the very same narrative of things like critical race theory here in America. And what is that narrative? The narrative is that Black Americans are oppressed and that white Americans are the oppressors. So Black, great, we need to help them. They are victims. White, bad. Colonizers. They are the ones who have been doing the oppressing. They are the ones who have enslaved us. And Juneteenth is an avenue of which we push that narrative. And I'm just going to refer back to my notes here. So if you don't see how this is so ingenious. Let me tell you how it's ingenious, because if you come out and you say, you know what, I'm feeling kind of fishy about this whole Juneteenth thing, you look like a bigot, because who could possibly oppose a holiday that celebrates the emancipation of slavery? And again, I will say, I'm not against the emancipation of slavery, obviously, in any way, shape, or form. But the left has set it up to where you come out and you say, you know what, I don't think Juneteenth should maybe be a federal holiday. And you look like a bigot who is discriminating against people. So why is Juneteenth, or the premise of celebrating the emancipation of slavery, a problem? Again, it's because we push this narrative that white is bad, they're oppressive, and black people are victims. And I want to just ask you guys a question today. What do you think of when you think of black Americans? And the left will tell you, I think victim, I think slavery, I think unequal, I think oppressed. And me as a conservative, I would tell you, I don't think of anything, because I don't attribute characteristics to a person based off of their skin color. I would never do such a thing. Black Americans are all different. We are all diverse. We all have different values. We all have different feelings. We all have differences in our lives. And what Juneteenth aims to do as a federal holiday is to ascribe characteristics to people based on race. It perpetuates a narrative that black people in this country are oppressed, and that we still have systems that are systemically racist and that are founded on white supremacy in this country, which is absolutely not true. We are not held back in any way, shape, or form. And you have to beg the question, what has Juneteenth accomplished for anybody now that it's a federal holiday? You get a day off of work. Well, this year it's a Saturday. Maybe next year you get a day off of work. But what does it really do? What has it accomplished for the black community in particular? Because this is supposed to be a celebration specifically for the black community. Nothing. It accomplishes nothing. So you have the establishment politicians who push this through to you, and they go, here you guys go. Here's Juneteenth. We are so progressive. We had made so much progress in America. And then they turn a blind eye to all the other problems that the black community is facing. But now you get to look and you get to see on Instagram that everybody's celebrating Juneteenth, and you get to celebrate. Wow, great. While all these other problems keep continuing to happen, black communities are devastated here in America. Look at the drugs, look at the gun violence, look at the gang violence, look at the illiteracy rate here in America with black Americans. Yet you got Juneteenth, so that must have saved it, right? That must have fixed everything. It is a metaphorical Band-Aid. It is a federal virtue signal that absolutely does nothing but separate us and racially divide us. Over and over and over and over again. It is no wonder that we've been hearing about race all through the news, all through social media, and now we get to hear about it every single year on June 19th. And you know what? I'm not excited about it. And again, it is not because I somehow oppose the emancipation of slaves. Nobody opposes that. But think about slavery. Now, every single nation, every single ethnic group has experienced slavery. There are people still today experiencing slavery. Look at Africa. If you were truly against slavery, this holiday would have nothing to do with America, yet it is specifically subscribed to Americans. And it is because the left views America, our governance, our institutions, our systems as inherently racist and founded in white supremacy. And when you believe that, what is the fix? What do you do when all of your institutions are shrouded in this evil ideology? You have to take down all the institutions, and you have to take down all the systems. And Juneteenth, although sounding great on paper and in theory sounding amazing, is just a way to get Americans to acknowledge that our systems and our institutions are founded on the backs of slavery, on the backs of white supremacy, and on the backs of some sort of colonial narrative. And that is not true at all, and it will make our country fall apart. So again, the emancipation of slavery is a fantastic thing, but now we have gotten Juneteenth born out of that. A holiday that will do nothing for Black America. It will do nothing to fix the racial divide that we are currently experiencing right now, and only serves to perpetuate a narrative that pits us against each other and makes us subscribe characteristics to the people we see based on their color. That is all I have to say about it. So when you think about June 19th, think about whether or not you're celebrating Juneteenth. Think about whether or not you're celebrating something good, or if you've been tricked by the establishment into now admitting that America is a white supremacist, colonialist country, which we are not. Thank you. That's all I have to say. Think about it, marinate on it, and see how you feel about June 19th. Bye, guys.
Well, when that young lady saw the light, she really did turn into quite a force, because she used to be kind of a left-wing loon.
Yeah, well, her mother is still very liberal, and I think that was really hard for her in the beginning of her transition to
reality.
I mean, well, also
insanity.
Like, it's kind of crazy to think that she was so left-wing, and then now she's like a personality for PragerU, who is definitely the very opposite of that.
That's exactly right. But then again, we're talking about the truth here. And by the way, Jonathan Karl, the left-wing loon that is one of the anchors at ABC, stunned by this new poll that shows that they did a Quinnipiac poll and said that Donald Trump, after the indictment announcement and everything else, is trailing Joe Biden 48% to 44%. I'm not even sure I believe that, but he said he couldn't believe how close. They said that's statistically a tie. And of course, they had Donna Brazile, the Democrat operative, that was on there, said, well, we're just a divided country. Why are we a divided country? Because they keep dividing it.
Well, and I also think that these polls, I don't think really are truthful when you look at them.
No, I know.
I have a really hard time with a lot of the polls. I think that they're all over the map. That's the other thing. Like, I've seen polls that contradict that, so I don't really know what polls to believe.
Well,
but I will
this is the Quinnipiac poll that they quoted yesterday, and Jonathan Karl, who led one of the people that led the charge on the Russian hoax lie, Russian collusion lie, is stunned by all this, and even though the fact they cannot admit the fact that even Mike Pence was taking F. Chuck Todd to the cleaners yesterday. Because he said that, you guys were investigating this for 2 years, and we have proof now that this investigation should have never happened in the first place. And Todd tries to push back on that. He's such an idiot. But meanwhile, speaking of idiots, how about the Los Angeles Dodgers, who have done everything they can? When you talk about, when we were talking about Bud Light a moment ago, and Anheuser-Busch and all these corporations that are trying to spit in our face of their loyal fan base. The Dodgers have done one of the most egregious things I've ever seen in my life, of honoring this gay, these people that
well, and it's making a mockery of religion.
Yes,
the people that they've invited,
gay guys who pretend to be gay nuns.
Yeah,
it's despicable. It's just disgusting.
Well, and do you know that Biden's the guy that got arrested in the Biden administration? I believe he was the nuclear specialist. He was stealing. He was stealing luggage.
He was the assistant. He was the deputy nuclear guy.
Yeah, he was one of these people at one point in his life.
Well, I'm not a bit surprised.
Well, where did the Biden administration recruit from? But anyways.
But at any rate, the Dodgers were had the unmitigated gall to honor these people. First of all, they invited them. There was a huge protest. They disinvited them. And then there was a protest from the LGBTQ X04 49 tilde sign and a symbol for boron complaint. So they brought them back and honored them. Okay, you can if you're going to have them, but don't honor them with some prestigious award. And here's how it went.
Imagined.
Why are we kowtowing to these cretins?
I couldn't tell you, Bill. I'm not really sure why we continue to see this and why Americans aren't getting more upset.
I don't know what it's going to take.
I don't either. Well, also, we work for a living. We're not being paid to go out and protest. So I think that that's the other difference. There's some other things that will definitely make you upset. I know that our president, quote unquote, definitely making a whole lot of sense over the weekend, wasn't he?
Yes, yes. We've got this civil engineering project that you are not going to believe. That's all coming up next as we stay real. At Get Real America, we want to make sure that the real story gets out, and you can help us as a sponsor or as an advertiser to make sure that that word does get out to the community.
Be a sponsor and support your local community here at Get Real America.
When I grow up, I want to work for a woke company, like super woke.
When I grow up,
I want to be hired based on what I look like,
rather than my skills.
I want to be judged
by my political beliefs.
I want to get promoted
based on my chromosomes. When I grow up,
I want to be offended
by my coworkers
and walk around the office
on eggshells
and have my words policed
by HR. Words like
grandfather,
peanut gallery, long time no see,
no can do.
When I grow up,
I want to be obsessed with emotional safety
and do workplace sensitivity training
all day long.
When I grow up, I want to climb the corporate ladder
just by following the crowd.
I want to be a conformist.
I want to weaponize my pronouns. What are pronouns?
It's time to grow up and get back to work. Introducing the #1 woke-free job board in America, redballoon.work.
I don't think it's an accident that I ended up writing music for a living, because I think I lived in a house where I saw how deeply it affected everyone in the house. And just how much everyone defined themselves by the music they listened to.
Music as a framework, I think, gave my parents my identity from a young age. You can like any music that you want if it makes you feel happy. And now when I hear certain songs, I think of them, and I think of them in their happiest state, and it makes me happy.
If they seem like they're having trouble talking about something, I try to tell them about a time when I felt something similar.
Whatever the issue was, we would tell them the pros and cons and how important it was, and that they had come to us because we could always help them. I think the real important point, we always told them, no matter what you do, no matter what happens, we will help you through it no matter what it is.
Come join us today at Sweet Potatoes Kitchen for some of that good Southern home cooking, like fried chicken, fish, and mouth-watering banana pudding. Say it's the best in the world, and you won't get an argument from me. Also, those vegetables are fresh and delicious. Voted Southside's best restaurant in Savannah at least 5 times, and large corporate parties are welcome. Tell them Bill Edwards sent you. Drop by and eat today. Everybody loves sweet potatoes.
Serving the Savannah area with the power of the Shield since 1934, with personal insurance, employee benefits, and business insurance. With integrity, security, and trust. For more information, go to thepoweroftheshield.com.
Welcome back to Get Real America.
I'm Bill Edwards.
I'm Brittany Brown.
Glad to have you aboard here on this Juneteenth, the 19th day of June.
Yes,
hope you're enjoying your holiday, just like we are here in the studio.
Yes. Always working, right, Bill?
Yeah, that's exactly right.
Yes.
Never take a holiday.
Yes. Well, I wish that, actually, our president takes a lot of holidays.
He sure does.
He's taken more time off than any other president.
Mm-hmm. But that's because of that hectic work schedule, because he's up at the crack of noon. Has his favorite noonday meal, breakfast.
Yep, and then I think he's usually done by 2. So
yeah,
good for him.
Yeah,
good for him.
It's
what a schedule.
Boy, I'm telling you, things are tough all over.
Yes, they are.
But he's ready to take on another 4 years. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and this really interesting project that he announced last week.
Boy, civil engineers all over the world must be excited about this one.
Now, class, it's time for a little lesson in geography and economics, courtesy of Professor Joe Biden. This week, the president revealed a bold plan for an engineering project that just might rival the Sydney Harbor Bridge. Oh, yeah. Have a listen to this.
Well, we're going to end and we're going to help. We have plans to build a railroad from the Pacific all the way across the Indian Ocean. We have plans to build in Angola, one of the largest solar plants in the world. I could go on, but I'm not. I'm going off script. I'm going to get in trouble.
A railroad from the Pacific all the way across the Indian Ocean, Joe. My, that's impressive. If you thought running railroad track across quicksand was tough, try the ocean.
Oh, he is something else, isn't he? He's got a lot of great ideas, doesn't he?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. That's a good idea, along with the John Fetterman clothing line. I'd like to come out with.
I'm sorry. People can say that I am, an ableist, or that I'm mean, or that I'm harsh. I'm sorry. These are positions of power that we allow people to make decisions for the American people. And the fact that he and Biden are in two of them makes me very concerned, because neither one of them makes sense. And most of the time, there used to be like some honor to going to, being a senator.
Yeah.
When you show up in a hoodie and shorts all the time, I'm sorry. Like, what is going on?
Yeah. Well, you can call us up, but reality is where it is, and this is a matter of national security. They're selling this country down the river. We have Anthony Winkin, Blinken, and Nod, who is in Beijing as we speak, kissing the butts of the Chinese. Oh, please don't attack us. Please don't attack Taiwan or anything of that nature. We need to be friends. We need to keep trade going and things of that nature. No. We should be going over there and saying, we're going to stand up for our allies. We're going to stand up for our friends.
But that's the thing. They know we don't have any equipment because we've given it all to Ukraine.
Yeah. So the latest of how much ammunition we're sending over there, and I understand, that if we started the war, we got ammunition to last us about 5 days. We need another one of those Manhattan projects for our military right now. For everybody to start making ammunition and start making missiles and everything else that we need, that we are out of, because we're giving it over to Ukraine.
Bill, that would be great, but they do not care about. They're too busy worried about drag queens, and so that won't happen under this administration. They do not care if we're ready for war or not.
Well, yeah. Well, tell them the drag queens are going to be making this stuff. So the drag queen manufacturers.
That's something that would be interesting to see. I don't know if they don't like to work. They like to strip in front of small children. But
darn.
Yeah. But Fetterman, we talked a little bit last week about how there was this bridge that ended up collapsing after a tractor trailer caught on fire, and Biden showed up to save the day.
Yeah, he sure did, as always.
And now I'm standing next to the president again, next to a collapsed bridge here. And he is here to commit to work with the governor and the delegation to make sure that we get this fixed quick, fast as well, too. This is a president that is committed to infrastructure. Yeah, and then on top of that, the dual kind of law of the inflation bill that is going to make sure that there's going to be bridges all across America getting rebuilt.
Okay, did you understand any of that? Was that an SNL skit?
Yeah, or just like cringe Jean-Pierre, who talked about our friends from Canada. This is amazing. Now,
it would be
what
funny
happened
if it
to that
wasn't
truck?
so sad.
I want to see what the investigation is. But how did this truck catch fire conveniently underneath a bridge? Now, did the guy actually run into something? I mean, we can understand that if he had a seizure, and maybe we'll never know because his body, I think, was mostly consumed by that horrible fire. He was carrying 8,500 gallons of gasoline. But we had a bridge collapse here in Georgia, up in Atlanta, a few years ago, and they said it was might take 6 months to a year to repair. We had it done in 3 months. We had construction crews there 24/7, round the clock, every day, 365, and they were on it. When that bridge collapsed down in Florida after the hurricanes that came through last year, the tropical storms, They said it would be months before they got that bridge fixed to that island. Brittany, 4 days.
Wow.
4 days, because you have somebody who's in charge who knows what they're doing, and you go just all in, 100%, 24/7. They could have this thing, but at least Pete Bootylicious, our wonderful transportation secretary, did show up for this one. Still hadn't done anything for the people of East Palestine, Ohio, but he's right there to help that bridge in Philadelphia, the city of brotherly shove. And that's I-95. That's one of the that's the main corridor. We got to get more cocaine in there, so we got to get that thing fixed.
Well, the other thing, Bill, is there have been so many issues with transportation, with the railroads, with the roads, with everything since this administration has been in charge. And from what I understand, they've taken away a lot of the ability for people to, number one, do their job, and number two, for them to use technology in order to seek out some of the issues, like with the railroads and things like that. Why would they do this?
I don't know. Because I guess it was a racist bridge. This is the thing with this idiot with Bootylicious, who couldn't get potholes fixed, and I think they called him Mayor Pothole in South Bend, Indiana. And by the way, the black community despised this guy, so now he's trying to make up for it on steroids by doing everything and saying roads are racist, bridges are racist. We have and when we're trying to replace our pilots, because we don't have enough pilots right now. They don't know how many airplanes are parked, and they've had to cut back on routes. They've had to cut back on schedules, and people are not getting in. And we have all these delays and everything else because he is not. He said, "Well, if we're going to have more pilots, they've got to be a certain percentage of blacks. They got to be a certain percentage of gays. They got to be a certain percentage of whatever else, of whatever else of the other 17 or 18 or 85 denominations and things that we have now." And different genders that we have. So and these people aren't showing up. They're not there. So consequently, and then we have, and then of course, this goes right back to our military and everything else, from the fact that they're down. The Army's going to miss its recruiting goal by 25% this year. Now, what does that do for national security? And then when they get there, they're taught about critical race theory and how to use their pronouns. This is not going to be for the fighting force. Did you hear that Lieutenant General that was the Air Force Lieutenant General last week, who was saying that she wasn't going to maybe not assign people from Space Force down to Florida because they might not be because Florida is so hostile to gays and to people of to different genders.
But if you talk to anyone that lives in Florida, they're like, it's an oasis. It's paradise. It's everything that Gavin Newsom wishes California was.
Yeah. The black community is thriving. They got black businesses are doing better than anybody else in the country. In Florida, yeah. Things are real tough down there, General. And frankly, I'd like to bust you so low you'd have to salute civilians.
Yeah, what they've done to the military is despicable. And also what they're doing to destroy our country. I mean, you also look at the border. The fact that they're allowing all of these people in, we're not going to be able to defend ourselves when something bad happens.
Well, and guess who's coming across the border? Now, the Chinese, as clueless as they are, they're sending their spies through.
They're wasting no time, and they're taking an opportunity that I believe Biden is giving them. I don't blame people for coming over the border, but I do blame this president and his administration for lying about what's happening and for also making it easier for people to get into this country.
Yeah, for allowing it to happen easy. You just walk right in, sit right down. Where's my welfare check? Where's my Social Security check?
Where's my hotel room? Where's my phone? Give it all to me now.
And to American veterans who have fought and offered to die for this country, they go into their room and tell them, you're going to have to leave now so these illegal aliens can come in here and stay.
Absolutely ridiculous, Bill. It's very shameful what they're doing to our country. And if you're not mad yet, you should be. You definitely should be.
Because we're going to give you more to get mad about coming up next. Stay real.
Who is a kid? Well, that's a kid. And another. Look, a gaggle of them. Or is it a herd? Litter? Pride. But what about her? Tell her she's not a kid. Or him. So how do we tell who is a kid? Height? Age, maybe. But some of us have to grow up faster than others. A kid. A kid. A kid wants to make the world better. And one day, he just might. Is a kid fearless? Vulnerable? Strong? Nervous? Yes. 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 Kiwanis is 600,000 kids at heart doing all the little and big things it takes to help children around the world. Because kids need Kiwanis. All of them.
Savannah, I'm coming home. Savannah, we'll never be alone. Savannah, the beauty of the world. Savannah, let's all take a walk. Savannah, I'm coming home. Savannah.
When you're looking to buy a business or sell a business, the experts at Best Business Brokers have you covered. Whether you're ready to cash in on your years of hard work or you're taking that first step in buying a business of your own, they're here to guide you through the process and make sure you get the best outcome possible. By having Best Business Brokers assist you when you buy a business or sell a business, they handle the legwork of the intricate process. This ensures a smooth transition of ownership, allowing you to get to work immediately or receive payment for your business as soon as possible. With base operations in Savannah and Charleston, they service all of Georgia and South Carolina. If you're considering starting a business here, the mild winters and 5-tiered economic areas make these the perfect places to do so. If you're ready to buy a business or sell a business, then you're ready to contact Best Business Brokers. Visit their website at b3brokers.com or call at 912-349-0940.
Serving the Savannah area with the power of the Shield since 1934 with personal insurance, employee benefits, and business insurance. With integrity, security, and trust. For more information, go to thepoweroftheshield.com.
Come join us today at Sweet Potatoes Kitchen for some of that good Southern home cooking, like fried chicken, fish, and mouth-watering banana pudding. Say it's the best in the world, and you won't get an argument from me. Also, those vegetables are fresh and delicious. Voted Southside's best restaurant in Savannah at least 5 times, and large corporate parties are welcome. Tell them Bill Edwards sent you. Drop by and eat today. Everybody loves sweet potatoes.
Welcome back to Get Real America.
I'm Bill Edwards.
I'm Brittany Brown.
Here it is, Monday, starting off another week of fun and frolic.
Oh, yes. And our friend Lizzie is with us this morning, and she says Taiwan will be given away. And I don't disagree with her.
No, I don't either. Anthony Blinken's over there kissing the Chinese butts instead of telling them who the boss is.
Well, I also think that the Chinese have been very hostile towards this Biden administration and have made them look foolish, in my opinion.
Which didn't take any effort whatsoever.
No,
because they go ahead and do that all by themselves.
Yep.
Just amazing. Meanwhile, I think the country is on the verge of Asa Hutchinson mania.
Well, I definitely won't be in that camp. I will tell you that much. He is a little lackluster for me, but
you talk about milquetoast. But at any rate, he was on one of the Sunday shows yesterday. that used to be significant, and now they don't mean a matter of hill of beans.
56% of Americans under a Marist poll say Donald Trump should drop out of the race under these circumstances. And that's the biggest challenge politically, is that independent voters particularly are not going to move in the GOP direction if Trump is the nominee under these circumstances and under his promise really to enact retribution. That's not what we need, and I think that is a serious political issue as we go forward next year.
And you agree with those 56%? You think Donald Trump should drop out of this race?
I've said that some time ago, and it's based upon the fact that you should put the office of presidency and our country above yourself. And whenever you've got these serious allegations against you, whenever you've got the challenge of multiple different investigations during the course of the next year, it's not fair to the country, and certainly it's not fair to the party that wants to get this country back on track. And so to me, that is the high-level consideration the candidates should give to the important office of president in making that decision for the country's interest. So yes, I think that he should drop out. Clearly he's not going to. This is going to be decided by the voters, which is the American process, but the American voters are going to have to decide on the merits of these charges. And the whole concept that so many Republican leaders are adopting, that this is the weaponization of the Justice Department. And I think they've made some bad decisions. I can certainly disagree with many of the decisions they've made, particularly Jim Comey and some of his in reference to Hillary Clinton. But in terms of the overall charge of weaponization of the Justice Department, look at Donald Trump. He's already declared that if he's elected president, he's going to appoint a special prosecutor to go after the Biden family. That's called a weaponization of the Justice Department. And so let's back off of these accusations and let's get back to being the party of the rule of law, of the justice system, supporting law enforcement, and equal application of the law. Let's don't undermine the greatest justice system and criminal justice system and rule of law in the world today, this side of heaven.
Mr. Excitement.
Well, how can you not see that this is the weaponization of the DOJ?
Exactly.
I don't understand. And
and then they fabricated these stories. They have fabricated all of this, just like they fabricated the Russian hoax and everything else that was paid for by the Hildebeest and her Confederates. This is simply going up. This is the kangaroo court of all times.
Well, he is the exact Republican that has gotten us here. Go along to get along. We just want to be nice to everyone. We want everything to go smoothly. We
want everybody to like us.
Yes. I'm sorry, Asa. Get with the program. The American people are sick of Republicans not standing up for us. And
Donald Trump is talking about going after restoring the country. Look what he did as president, even despite the fact that he was having to fight all the Democrats and half of his own party.
Well, also look at new on the scene Vivek Ramaswamy, who is coming out and making bold statements, doing the right thing. People love him. You wouldn't believe, people at the convention were so excited to see him. Everyone wanted their photo with him. I mean, I don't think these people must live in a bubble, Bill, because if you go out in public, people are craving someone who is strong and who will stand up and who will say the things that the American people are thinking, but that no one is saying. So I do see that in Vivek. I see that in Trump. DeSantis has been a little weak on this as well. But
one of the things that, it goes back to when we said, okay, well, we can only do so much because we're not in power. Give us Congress and we can do something. So we gave them Congress. And not much happened. So, well, we don't have the Senate, so we gave them the Senate. So they had Congress and the Senate. They said, well, we just can't get it done because it takes so long to do these things. So it's going to take a while. So we don't have to show immediate results. We need the presidency. So we gave them all three, and they still didn't do it. And you had Paul Ryan and his crowd running around just fussing and bitching and moaning about the fact that they couldn't get things done and how bad this guy was in the White House. No, forget it. We want you to grow a backbone. Why? That's why we elected you.
The Democrats do it. The Democrats
that's
do
right.
it.
I was
with
just
slim majorities.
I was just stunned by some of the comments, from Dick Turban from yesterday, saying this is a bad look for the country to say that they're going to that they're going after. This is just a witch hunt. Well, look at the king and queens of the witch hunts. And when they had the slimmest of majorities in the Democrats in the last Congress, and 2 impeachments, and the list goes on and on. With the Hildebeest is the one that ought to be behind bars.
You're not wrong. They, and something that came up last week was Anna Paulina Luna, which I don't know if you knew this. She's like 7 months pregnant, and she broke her leg. And she is still as fierce as ever and still going after the Democrats. But, she presented, a resolution to censure and fine Adam Schiff for his behavior with the impeachments and his false statements to the press. And let's take a look at that.
And dishonorably on many other occasions, including by falsely denying that his staff coordinated with a whistleblower to launch the first impeachment of President Trump. Whereas part of his impeachment efforts during an HPSCI hearing on September 26, 2019, Representative Schiff recited a false concocted rendition of a phone call between President Trump and Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky, whereas Representative Schiff exploited his position on HPSCI to encourage and excuse abusive intelligence investigations of Americans for political purposes. Whereas Representative Schiff used his position and access to sensitive information to instigate a fraudulently based investigation, which then he used to amass political gain and fundraising dollars. Whereas the American taxpayers paid $32 million to fund the investigation into collusion that was launched as a result of Representative Schiff's lies, misrepresentations, and abuses of sensitive information. And whereas it is determined by an investigation conducted by the Committee on Ethics that Representative Schiff lied, made representations, and abused sensitive information, he should be fined the amount of $16 million.
And what happened?
There were 20 Republicans that voted with the Democrats to not censure or fine Adam Schiff, which I think is a crime in itself.
Yeah.
Here's the list here. We have Armstrong from North Dakota, Chavez DeReamer from Oregon, Siscomani from Arizona, Cole from Oklahoma, Davidson from Ohio, Fitzpatrick from Pennsylvania, Granger from Texas, Graves from Louisiana, Keene from New Jersey, Kiley from California, Kim from California, Lawler from New York, Massey from Kentucky. That was a surprise to me. McClinton from California. McClintock from California. Molinaro from New York. Arbinault from Ohio. Or from California. Simpson from Idaho. Turner from Ohio. And Valadeo from California. A lot of California Republicans in there.
And this
Massey
guy's
was
also now
probably
running
the
for
biggest.
guy's also now running for the Senate, and will probably get elected.
That makes me.
So we're going to have Adam Schiff in the Senate for Dianne Feinstein's spot, who doesn't know what day it is either.
Well, I don't know how these people can keep getting elected. Well, actually, I do. All the Republicans are leaving California. A lot of people are leaving California because it's unbearable to live there. So the people that are left voting are the people that take all of the money from the government to survive.
Well, what gets me, again, with the Republicans and hoping that they'll grow a backbone one of these days, is that's why we elected you. You ran on that. You ran on this platform that you were going to reform things. You ran that you were going to stand up for the Democrats. And then 20 of you vote not to get Adam Schiff, who ought to be under Leavenworth for what he did and how much he's cost this country. And when he was asked to finally produce the documents and all of the secret things that he said he had on Donald Trump, he refused because he didn't have them. It was fabricated. He was lying. And he may be the next senator from California.
Which we hope doesn't happen. So we'll see if the ballot harvesting works out in the Republicans' favor in California. I know they're setting up a huge operation there. So
good.
We'll see.
Grow a backbone.
Yes. Well, that's going to do it for our Monday show.
Maybe we can get one from the Wuhan lab. We'll see you for the Tuesday edition tomorrow. Stay real.